My name again is Suri Deitch, and I'm Dean of the School of Professional Advancement, SOPA. And I'm hiding in a bedroom in a vacation rental wearing my Tulane t-shirt. So, right, that's what happens these days. And I'm using my iPad instead of my computer because I'm having trouble with my computer, so I can't see people's faces like usual if you have your video on. We really appreciate you taking time out of your evening. I'm going to talk a little bit about SOPA, the School of Professional Advancement, and our undergraduate programs. I'm joined by my colleague Sheila Gold, who is going to speak about our admissions process and important things like our tuition rate. And our colleague Ann Conlon is behind the scenes running these slides. So you can see on the screen, that's a picture of me and of Sheila. And we're really excited to welcome you to this webinar. So next slide. So just for those of you who are not familiar with SOPA, as we call it, the School of Professional Advancement, it's a school within Tulane University that has existed in various iterations since the 1880s. And I actually always like to say that Tulane is a very unusual elite private research institution because it has applied learning relevant to the workplace, right? So that's what applied learning means in the institutional DNA, starting at the very beginning of the institution, which was founded as the Medical College of Louisiana to fight yellow fever and other tropical diseases. And then pretty early on in its history, started offering academic programs that were explicitly focused on meeting the needs of working adults. And so SOPA, which is the name and the version of the school today, is a great place because we have all that history to build on, and at the same time, we can do it in a 21st century fashion. And so the slide you're looking at now gives sort of my shorthand about a lot of the reasons why we think that the School of Professional Advancement is a great option for people who are thinking about going back to school at the undergraduate level. We always talk first about online education. You can go to the next slide. And we are, we're in a time right now, right, when a lot of higher education is being done online. At SOPA, we were actually doing a lot already, even before the pandemic came. And so we were really well prepared. We have campuses, 2 campuses in New Orleans. One is a suburban campus in Elmwood, Louisiana. And then the Uptown campus, which is the main campus of Tulane. And then we teach online. And in our undergraduate programs, we have a lot of different options for combining in the classroom with online learning. And we can do things like let you finish your bachelor's degree online if you've already started it at Tulane or at another institution and you're interested in degree completion, for example. And I know we have some folks on the webinar this evening who are all over the United States. And that's one of the great things that we can do with offering online education. We like to talk about quality online education at a time when most everyone is doing online. Doesn't mean they're doing it well. And so we have a particular method of teaching online that we've developed, which combines what's called synchronous with asynchronous meetings. So synchronous means that everyone is on at the same time, kind of like this Zoom call. And asynchronous means that you are working on the material on your own schedule. You're still interacting with your faculty and with fellow students through things like discussion boards and group projects. And generally our online courses meet with everyone on together once a month. And that could be for a guest speaker, That could be for a group project or something like that. And we find it's a really great mix of taking advantage of the upside of online learning in terms of the diversity of material and the ways of interacting that you can use, but then also making it so that there are enough meetings where everyone is on at the same time that you can get to know one another and develop relationships with your classmates. In the next slide, we talk some about our depth of online, which is, this is a slide from before the pandemic. So way back in February, we had taught students over 10,000 hours online in the past year. And we have multiple programs, degree programs and certificates, courses that are taught online, and a couple hundred faculty who know how to do it and know how to do it well. It's very different from teaching in the classroom, and award-winning programs, which you can find out about on our website. All right, next slide. So this is a list of our programs at the undergraduate level, which are a combination, again, of online and on ground. We don't have time to talk about each of them this evening because this is an overview webinar, but we do have webinars that focus on each of these areas of study separately on our schedule. And of course, Sheila and I, the rest of our admissions staff, and our faculty and advisors are also available to talk to you about the individual programs at any point. The bachelor's degrees are 120 credits. If you have done academic work at another institution, you can transfer in up to 60 credits in various ways, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that means. We have post-baccalaureate certificates, which means that you must have earned a bachelor's degree already to study in these areas. A lot of times these are programs for people who are changing careers or want to advance in a very particular way, or maybe who are working as classroom teachers, for example, and don't yet have certification. And then what we call our professional certificates are academic programs that don't require you to have already earned a bachelor's degree coming in. Next slide. We love to talk about our faculty. We have an incredible mix of full-time faculty who are completely devoted to working with students. And over on the right-hand side of the slide, you have two of those folks, Tyra Mitchell, who is in our kinesiology programs, including exercise science and health and wellness, and Ralph Russo, who is a faculty member overseeing our information technology and cybersecurity programs. And then the 30 or so full-time faculty across the school are backed up by a large number of adjunct faculty, like the folks on the left-hand side of the slide who have day jobs working in industry and teach with us because they love the opportunity to share what they know from the field. And one of the many great things about having people who are currently working in industry or who come from industry in the way that Tyra and Ralph do is that they bring their base of knowledge, but they also bring their connections. And so helping you to build your professional networks is one of the things that they do as part of teaching at SOPA. We talk as well about student support and success and all the systems and people and supports that we have in place so that you can be successful in a challenging academic program. Every student is assigned an academic advisor who will work with you to make sure that you're taking classes in the right order, so that you're covering prerequisites, so that you're covering all the requirements of your programs, who will be there to help you out if you run into challenges, whether in school or out of school, and who are generally there as your major support I already said something about our faculty and their industry experience and the connections they bring. And we also have dedicated career advisement in our school. So a career advisor, industry panels, workshops, as well as individual advice. So if you need help getting a resume ready for a particular interview, or just generally making sure that your LinkedIn profile is really strong, those are the kinds of things that we help students with. And then, of course, as a Tulane student and a Tulane alum, you have access to all the support and career development services that every member of the Tulane family gets for the rest of their careers. One of the ways in which we are an adult friendly institution is that we offer credit in various ways toward earning your degree. The main way that we do this is through something called portfolio assessment, where you work with our faculty to match your experience to the courses that are in your academic program, and then to document that experience and actually build a portfolio that is then graded for credit by faculty. This is a great way of making a leap forward in your program. You can actually get up to 24 credits at the undergraduate level toward a bachelor's degree. And then we have various other arrangements where we accept credit from military transcripts or from other kinds of tests that are in the field that people often use to, again, document prior training, prior work experience, and volunteering. And so this can be a really useful component of making progress toward your undergraduate degree. I'll hand things off to my colleague Sheila Gold to talk more about affordability and admissions.
Thanks, Suri. I just want to say to everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm always appreciative, and I like to be intentional about saying thank you. I know that this is at the end of a long day for some of you all, and I like to be mindful of your time and just say that we really appreciate you all spending some time learning about our programs. We're always excited to talk about them, so we appreciate when people show up to hear about them. One of the components of Tulane School of Professional Advancement is that we're very intentional about our tuition and the fact that our students tend to be, on the whole, juggling some mixture of their time between being working professionals and also attending school or having other responsibilities, if not necessarily professional responsibilities. And so we are intentional about creating an opportunity for students to be able to afford their education. For undergraduate students, which you are looking at becoming by attending this webinar, our per credit hour tuition is $524. And I do like to point out to students, because most students tend to compare schools and affordability, please keep in mind that we have very few additional fees added on top of our tuition. Oftentimes, universities will share their tuition rate, and then when you also look into fees, it can almost double the amount that you pay per semester. That is not the case at SOPA, and so that is something that I like to point out to students. We also have on our website, if you really want to dig in a little bit more deeply into how much it would cost to attend SOPA, we have a tuition calculator on our website, and essentially you can put into that calculator and sort of play around. If you take 3 credit hours a semester, 6 credit hours, 9 credit hours, how much it would cost for you to attend, and that could give you a little bit clearer sense of what you're looking at per semester. We also have financial aid available to our students. Most of our students apply for some sort of financial aid. And I like to say to students when applying to SOPA, At the same time, if you're looking at financial assistance, also fill out your FAFSA, your federal form for financial aid, at the same time. FAFSA forms can take about 6 weeks to process. And so it's always just a good habit that when you fill out your application for admission, also start the FAFSA process so that those things will time up correctly and you'll know what your loan package will be before you enroll. Types of aid available to students are federal grants and loans. We are also a yellow ribbon school. We are very proud of that. For those of you who are veterans, we have a 20% discount for active duty military, as well as K through 12 teachers and instructional staff, and New Orleans area public school employees. Surrey, in the previous slide, talked about our credit for prior learning portfolio assessment program. And the reason we talk about that on our affordability page is because if that applies to you, if you have credit, prior learning experience that you could apply and get credit for, that's up to 24 potential hours that you could get credit for. And so that is a savings. That is 24 hours of learning credits that you will not essentially have to pay for. So it is an affordability option, as well as it speeds up your time towards getting your degree. So I do like to talk about the application process. We are very intentional in making our application process as straightforward and easy as possible. With that caveat, I will also say that if you do run into any issues, we enjoy walking students through the process. So while we try to make it simple, there are always questions, and feel free to reach out at any time. You can go and start your application on our website. The address is below, sopa.tulane.edu/apply. That opens up the application portal. You simply put in your name and your email address, and you'll see the undergraduate application as an option. There is a $40 fee, application fee, but you get that fee waived for attending this webinar. If you have already started your application and have paid that fee, we can refund you that application fee if you've already paid it. Just simply email us. We will need an image of a current government ID. I always share with potential applicants, you can just take a picture of a driver's license or a passport that's current and upload that image. And then we will need transcripts from any school that you've attended prior to SOPA. You can have those either mailed to us by US mail or sent to us electronically. And there's a little bit more information about that on our website. Once again, you can always reach out and ask questions if you run into an issue. Our application deadlines are on this page. For those of you who are interested in applying for fall, our application deadline is August 1st. You still have plenty of time to get the application in. For those of you who are a little ahead of the curve and looking for spring, which is a January start, January 1 is our deadline. And then those of you who are really planning ahead for next summer, May 15th is our application deadline. Surrey, do you want to talk a little bit about our summer series?
Sure. Thanks, Sheila. So while we've all been in quarantine mode, SOPA and lots of other places are thinking about how to interact with both current and prospective students. And so we have actually had 2 different series that we'll just talk about real quickly, of very short seminars that we do through Zoom. The first one is called Going Back to College, and there are 2 more sessions of that. One coming up on healthy habits and juggling work and school, and another one on Microsoft Excel basics. You can register for those. The website address is on the screen. But we also have recorded the prior sessions and would be happy to give you access to those. We've covered various aspects of going back to school, paying for school, thinking about online classes versus on ground, thinking about career development. I did one on college level writing. And so they've been a great way to just share some small amounts of really crucial information with people who are thinking about going back to school. And then the slide you have in front of you right now is what we're calling our Career Pathways series, which is just launching in the next few days. And in this series, we are holding panels with professionals in most of our applied program areas, as well as the humanities and social sciences, where you can hear directly from sometimes alumni of the school, sometimes people who teach in the school, and then sometimes people who are just really important in industry and on their own. And you'll have a panel of professionals who are at different phases of their careers, who some of them have bachelor's degrees, some of them have master's degrees or law degrees, and facilitated by our faculty, all of them talking about their own personal career paths in ways that can help you think about your own if you're interested in these specific areas. And again, the web page for the series is down at the bottom of the screen. And as well, actually, if you want to go to the next slide, we have all of our social media where you can also find out about these events or get links to recordings of these events. You also see Sheila's contact information for follow-up to this session. We want to make sure, though, to take a minute now and see if anyone has a question who's online for us. And the best way to share your question is to put it in the chat. Probably people are familiar with Zoom at this point. Anne posted a welcome message in the chat. If you have a question for us at this point, feel free to go ahead and say it, or you can also unmute yourself and say it out loud. So we'll just take a minute for that. But we also welcome questions coming later. And so that's why you see Sheila's email address, as well as our office number on the screen. If you call us, we're not open right now, so we'll get your message and contact you back to set up a phone call or a video meeting. You'll also get an email from Sheila tomorrow with a link to this recording in case you want to watch the webinar again, but also to give you her contact information, and we will be in touch. Again, we really appreciate your time this evening. We're excited that you're thinking about going back to school, whatever stage you're at in your academic career and in your professional development. We're excited to get to know you and look forward to hearing from you and look forward to seeing your application for admission. Sheila, anything else you want to say?
Nope, I'm just really happy that everybody joined us this evening, and please reach out if there's any specific questions that you have about programs. My email address is sgold@tulane.edu. You will certainly be getting that sent to you, but it's also right in front of you, super easy to remember. And as much as we're not in the office, we are still working and available, and my favorite thing to do is talk to prospective students. So I am happy to answer emails, and if you want to chat on the phone, it may be me and my cell phone, but I'm absolutely happy to have phone calls too. So I really appreciate you all sharing your time with us tonight, and we certainly hope to welcome you to Tulane soon.
Great. Thanks everyone, and have a good evening.